Time for the dig before you dig every job. Search before you dig online every time. I want to have a listen to this from Tom Barrass during the week.
It happens every year, and it's hardly a story. AFL clubs chasing established key position player. It's just the currency of football, and so I wouldn't be reading into it too much. Mate, I'm a West Coast Eagles player, and unless the rug gets pulled out from under my feet, I'll stay that way. And I'm really excited about what we're doing here.
Gee, there was a hint of blaming the media there for the speculation over his future. He's got a short memory, though, because it was actually the Barrass camp, according to Mitch Cleary, where they approached the Swans and tried to facilitate a trade for Tom Barrass. They actually approached Sydney for this to happen. Mitch said this time trade time, they got a call this time around from Barrass's manager, Nick Geeshin, saying, hey, you should have a look at Tom again. It's interesting now that he decided to stay at the Eagles. So the Barrass camp rang the Swans, and the Swans have confirmed this and said, hang on, my client Tom Barrass, you should have a look at trying to get him in the trade period. And now, only a few months later, Tom Barrass is saying that it's speculation created by the media. Tom, it was you created the speculation.
Is it the greatest error that you've seen for a while? Imagine if he was at Sydney right now. It'd be unbeatable.
It's hard to be critical of what they've done. I don't know what it would have taken, how they would have got it.
I don't think the Swans let anyone down.
Yeah.
I don't think the Swans were the reason it didn't happen.
So what's the error then? Where's his error?
His error?
Yeah, that he missed a premiership.
Where would you rather be right now?
Good call.
Can the AFL please just come out and say, if you throw a punch, it is 1 week, and just put all this other rubbish to bed? If you take the risk, and I know it's half jostling for position, all this sort of rubbish, all this sort of alibis you can come up with, if you decide to throw a punch or something that ends up looking like a punch...
What about an open-handed push?
If it's forcible, you're in real strife.
In the Gun is for Grays.com, Australia's leading online auction marketplace. Kingy, you've thought long and hard about this. I know that for a fact. Who's in the gun? Where'd you land?
Well, some people say that I'm pretty centric to the West Australian teams, which may be correct. It may not be. I don't know about that.
You're not going Freo again.
I'm going Freo in a positive sense. In a positive sense.
This is in the gun. There's no positives in the gun.
Absolutely there is. I want to see what Fremantle's back six are like without Alex Pearce.
Right.
And I think that's a positive that you can sell your team if you can still perform to the near the levels of the last sort of 10 weeks, then terrific. So that for me, the baton gets handed to Luke Ryan. Can you organise this group and challenge the midfield to give more support down back? I'm fascinated to see how they handle the Swans, who are absolutely full steam ahead. We know what they're doing to most teams. It's tough on the road. Let's see how they go. Let's see if this back six can get it done without Alex Pearce.
So just to be clear, is it the back six or is it Luke Ryan who is in the gun?
I'm going with they'll need a performance from Luke Ryan, so he is in the gun.
All right. Just trying to find out where Brennan Cox is and why he's not playing at the moment, because I would have thought with Pearce out, he's not on their injury list, so I would have thought he would have been a nice one to come back in. I'm just going to go lighthearted in the gun, because if I go too negative, you'll bring up NAFs again, negative at first sight, and I'll be in all sorts of trouble. I'm staying out west as well.
Oh, hello.
Because you would not believe this. Our man Tim Gossage has quit Twitter again this week. He's off. He's quit. He said, after receiving on-air advice from Gary Lyon about me wasting my time and effort on X and interacting with others, I'm officially stepping away. I'll keep my account, but I will not post or respond. I will miss it, but I will still be watching.
What did Gary say?
Well, he must have just said, what are you wasting your time for, Goss? Don't bother about it. But by my calculations, this is the 7th time Tim Gossage has quit Twitter. I'm telling you.
Johnny Farnham.
I'm telling you. October 5, 2023. Today was only a cameo return to this platform. Got caught in the Devon Robinson backflip. Let's go to September 25, 2003. My departing post. Dacos to win the Brownlow, Lions to win the flag. September 24, 2023. Looks like my X days are over. This is legit. I am not making this up. June 25, 2024. That was the one this week. I'm going off off Twitter for a bit. That was October 24, 2020. And August 16, 2015, Twitter has exhausted me in the lead up to today's derby. Excluded for 7 days. Happy tweeting, but I'm out. Come on, Goss.
Come on, Goss.
Can we put a Twitter poll up regarding Tim Gossage? Will he return to the platform?
No. You got to have an over/under. Will he be back by August? Will Goss be back by August? Yes or no?
Yes.
Is our Twitter poll.
Yes.
Yeah.
I am answering yes to that one.
Tim, Johnny Farnham, Gossage.
He'll be back. I think it's a big week for Tom Stewart, Kingy, in terms of in the gun. It's been interesting to observe his body language since they've come after him pretty hard. It's probably been in the last 5 weeks. And I actually thought he was reasonable against the Blues. I thought he tried really hard, but his body language was poor, and how that is affecting the rest of his teammates. So for such a great player, future Hall of Famer in this game, to not be able to cope with the attention that he's been getting, and there haven't been great players that have taken him. Like, we're talking Jed McEntee, who's been dropped from Port Adelaide this week, Chin Cotter, we're talking James Jordan, O'Halloran from the Giants. This week it'll be Guelphy. Surely Tom Stewart can go head-to-head with Guelphy and beat him, or go to a Langford or go to a Stringer and play on the opposition's best. I think it's a big week for Tom Stewart.
Yeah, I don't subscribe to that school of thought. I had this discussion with Joey last night. The player just plays his game, and if he gets a tag come with him, or he gets a tag come with him. I don't think he can then decide to put him on the best opposition player, because you're already changing what you do. You've got a specific matchup for the Jake Stringer. You've already got that matchup sorted.
But if it's not working, surely you adjust.
But he's an intercept guy. If you ask someone else to play that role, you could lose twice. They haven't got another player of that ilk. They just have to challenge him to perform better. Handle the tag, work your way through it, get your positioning right, and challenge the midfielders to put more pressure on, so that he's not isolated like he has been over the last few weeks.
Happy with them not going with a ruck again? Well, it will be De Koning in ruck.
Well, they haven't really got a good one.
No.
Can I ask you the question? How unhealthy is it for the Sydney Swans to have won already 10 in a row and to be charging towards probably what we think is going to be another victory this week against Fremantle at home? Then I think they've got North Melbourne and St Kilda from memory. So they're looking at, say, 13 in a row. I mean, we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. They've got a tough month after that. Do you worry about big streaks of wins entering final series, or is it just not a concern?
It's a good concern. It's a concern that you'd love, obviously, but 3 games clear, their percentage, just nearly 30% better than any other team. It's remarkable what they've done. And I asked John Longmire about that last night, because he was with us on Sports Day, and he just said, like, it's you guys, it's good for you to talk about, but for us, we just take on the challenge as it comes. But do they get to a point, not this week, clearly, because they're unchanged, but where they can start to manage their group with the pre-finals bye, and then the bye if you win the first week of the finals? Is that enough of footy? So, look, I think their approach is going to be different to what Geelong and other teams have done in the past. I think they're just going to pick their best team every week.
No change again.
I don't think
two best words in footy: no change.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to play around with this. I think they're just going to go and I mean, they'll drop one at some point before the end of the finals, and that may not be a bad thing. But what did Geelong win in 22? 16 in a row?
Yeah, we're already at 10.
Yeah. So what are you going to get to at the end? I haven't done the maths on that, Kingy.
Well, it'd be 18, wouldn't it?
So it's not that far from 16. Like, they can do it. Could they go undefeated for the rest of the year right the way through?
Well, they got a sticky draw. I just had a look last night. I should have brought that up. Really poor of me not to have that ready at hand. But they have got a tough month. I think they go to Brisbane. They certainly play Collingwood. Let me have a look here. So I'm bringing this up as we speak.
Yeah, no, so they got St Kilda.
Brisbane in Brisbane.
Yep.
Then they got the Dogs at the SCG, and that's going to be a sticky challenge. They play Port Adelaide, which is probably not the game we thought it was going to be. Then they play Collingwood at the SCG in round 22. That's probably the sticky. That's the tough month, isn't it? Yeah,
but it's not too problematic. And then they finish the year with Adelaide at the SCG. It's a great problem to have. Where are you at with your top 8 of the teams in the top 8 right now? because there's some flaky teams in there. Who are you writing off? Who are you?
You're trying your
Who are
hardest
you writing off?
not to be disrespectful to Port because you're worried about me bringing it up.
I'm not at all. Are you writing off? Are you locking in Fremantle?
Am I
locking them in?
I don't think you can lock anyone in.
Well, you can. You'd be locking in Carlton.
There's only 2 you're locking in.
You're not
really,
locking in the Bombers. Into the 8, not the 4, the 8.
I'm not locking in. No.
You're not
It could
locking
get
in
wobbly.
the Bombers.
Well, you're picking on one team now. I know what you're
Oh,
trying to do
they are
here.
third.
I would lock in. The 3 that I would lock in was Sydney, Carlton and Collingwood for me. And then the rest, my God. Throw all balls in the air and see how they fall. But I do think Brisbane are coming in, and I do think the Dogs are coming in.
So you're going to lock...
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I'm not certain on the Bulldogs. I'm certain on...
You go up and down with the Dogs.
No, I don't.
You're a yo-yo.
Kingy.
Do you love them or not?
I love their list. I love it. If
you love it enough to play finals.
Of a top 4 list, I would take their list. I absolutely love it. I'm not in love with other aspects of the game and the way they go about things at times. So I don't.
So you got Brisbane coming in?
Have full confidence in the Dogs. Yes, Brisbane are in.
Melbourne coming in?
Not certain on that.
Did you say yes or no? Don't give me
you
not certain. Of course you're not certain.
You didn't give me any locks at all. I tried to get locks. You wouldn't even lock in Essendon. They're third. They've won 9.
Not a lock.
They don't travel for the rest of the year, and you're not prepared to lock them in.
Did you see what happened in the back half of last year? They got the bends. They fell that quick.
Where do you sit on Geelong?
If Fremantle lose this week, I think they've got the potential to fall out of the 8.
Right.
I mean that's a big shift, isn't it?
1300 736 736. You can have your say on any topic that we've discussed this morning. We also a little bit earlier.
Finish this statement for me. Finish this sentence. If the Saints beat Port Adelaide, finish that sentence, Kane.
I was waiting for like what will happen or something.
No, finish the sentence. If the Saints beat Port Adelaide,
it'll just be another rough week.
Just another rough week.
Another rough week. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna.
Just another rough week.
I don't think they're gonna spring
they're
into
just
action.
so comfortable with a situation.
What's the benefit for Port Adelaide of removing Ken now? Like, and we're going to get to the agenda, and I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to put you under the pump. I'm going to say, I'm going to put you under the pump because you've got strong thoughts on this. I want your plan. What you would do if you were in charge of Port Adelaide in the agenda right now, according to David King. Is it sack the coach now? Who you're putting in? What changes you're making? What are you doing with the list? It's all coming up with you on the agenda. But for me, if they lose to the Saints, it's not ideal, and it will be another rough week.
I need to get an answer on what the hell happened to George Wardlaw at training.
Yeah.
How are we losing players with head trauma at training?
You're the North Melbourne man. You're the front man of their marketing campaigns. Couldn't you put a call in and find out?
Well, it was very early this morning. What time do you expect me to start ringing people?
Night. We knew this last night.
Oh, I'm to ease my way back into the week.
All right, let's go to James.
I'll tell you what, if a dumb ruckman's involved in this concussion, they'll be held to... I'm almost thinking... This is career-threatening, whoever's knocking out our potential best player.
Send a text message to Sonia Hood or someone at...
Who's responsible?
At North and find that out for us.
If Callum Coleman-Jones or someone like that's... I'll tell you what, I will lose it.
Who is the most likely culprit of the George Wardlaw?
Well, I looked through the list before. Zerha's shortening as a favourite. All rip, tear and bust. Stevenson is probably a rank outsider, I would say.
I reckon Comben, there's arms and elbows and legs and all sorts going everywhere.
I tell you what, he was brilliant with us 2 weeks ago, and he backed it up. He copped a bit of heat, but he had a little chat. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
he said that they're gettable.
Yeah.
He said they're gettable, the Pies,
and they were.
And he copped it for 2 days, and then we were 8 goals up. They were gettable.
I know.
I love him. I reckon. I tell you what, he's got leadership written all over him.
Signed a new long-term deal as well.
There's one name coming through thick and fast on the text machine as to who's responsible for knocking out my man Jorge. We're not allowed to have men, though, are we? Hugh Greenwood, my God, man, my God.
It was Hugh Greenwood gone. Says Josh Hugh Greenwood. Kingy, it was Greenwood, mate. I heard a late tackle / bump from Greenwood.
I'm not a fan of delisting mid-year, right? I've never been a fan of it, but today I could be moved. I could be shifted today. Fancy knocking out George Wardlaw at training. He'll miss 2 games.
Come on, Hugh.
Come on, you.
All right, Scotty.
There are other ways to get a game, Hugh, than resorting to that stuff.
What's on your agenda, Kingy?
Oh, I want to give some love to Dyson Heppel. Plays his 250th this week. I think he's been a tremendous servant of the Essendon Football Club through the ups and the downs. The best and fairest winner in all Australian. A really popular guy and a guy you'd like to play footy with. So he's been involved in the system for, I think, 14 years. I read today in a fantastic article with Jay Clark. He did a sit-down with Jay. And I think that one of the lines in the article that really struck me was they asked one of the staff members, I think Pauline Borg was her name, and she just said he's the most beautiful guy to all the people at this football club. And I thought that just rings true to me.
Brilliant leader. Yeah.
Been a great player, isn't he?
A great player, tough, uncompromising, professional on and off the field. And it seems to me from the outside, got a great balance between the relationships off the field and can have a bit of fun, can have a beer. But then when he's on the field, he takes it incredibly seriously as well. So I thought he was probably done a couple of years ago. So for him to still be playing a key role is a credit to him and the way that he's gone about it. So good luck to Dyson in his big milestone.
Dice.
Just with Adelaide and what they can get out of the last part of the year, could Max Michelini be their Will Day?
Be their Will Day?
Yes. I think there's a lot of similarities between the way that Max and Will started out in their careers. Will Day as a skinny type across half-back and was a good intercepting player and very reliable, has now gone into the midfield as a genuine midfield star. I think for Adelaide, that should be his role for the back half of the year. Expose him to as much midfield time as you can within reason and see if he can be a point of difference for them in the midfield that we've been speaking about for Adelaide for a long time. And credit to Matthew Nix and the Crows, they have started using him at centre bounce. I think there's some traits there that could point to the fact that he may be their version of Will Day in 3 or 4 years' time.
Yeah, well, let's wait and see on that one. I'm not sure I'm with you on that, but I know I sort of know where you're going. The team they play on the weekend, when are we going to start talking critically about the Giants? They have been nigh on awful for 6 of the last 8 weeks.
Yeah, they have.
What's going on there? I mean, it's not a talent issue. They're stacked for talent. So the list concern is not there. The offensive game is gone. They can't move the ball and they can't score. We were talking about them last night. I think have a look at their scoring. 75, 73, 79, 78, 43, 62, 69. This is meant to be the offensive juggernaut, the tsunami, and it just looks shot.
So it's on the coach, and that's where it's at because it's not a list issue. There's no excuses with injury now. It's coming back into the side this week. Perryman, Canelio and Cumming. They've got Kelly and Ash back. So there was a thought that when those two were out, okay, that's affected our run and our ball movement. Well, that's not the case now. They're in. They're absolutely stacked forward. Sam Taylor's a big out, but he's missed over the journey in a number of games. Hasn't had a clean run for a while with injury, Sam Taylor, so he's out. But they have cover with Aliir and his performance this year. So you're right. If we're talking about a team that's under pressure this week, they go to Adelaide and they win against a bottom 4 side who has been so disappointing, the Crows, and they get that done, and they get that done convincingly.
Just it's more how they play than whether they win or not.
Well, they have to win. They have to win too.
Of course, you would think that they would win if they play somewhere near their best. But I want to see them get their game back. If they win 60 points to 50 points, it won't change any opinions anywhere. They've got to win. They've got to kick 100, 120 points and show that they can actually get their game rolling because they're running out of time. The Hoyne Doctor and I talked about the runway a couple of years ago, the last 4 weeks of the season. We're getting close to that sort of stage. We're not far off hitting the runway, so they've got to get themselves in order. Did you hear this during the week on AFL 360? I want to play a little bit of audio of Christian Petrarca catching up with Robbo and the G-Man.
Yeah, it's probably been the most traumatic thing I've experienced. Yeah, I'm getting quite emotional thinking about it. Just I think more just the severity of it and probably more how much it's impacted my fiance, and that's probably been the hardest thing, to be honest. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. It's been challenging for both of us, but we're getting through it, which is the main thing. Sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
It's been tough. It's something that I think when you get the news that you're out for the whole year or out for however long you are, it is quite tough, and I am a competitor and want to be out there and be with my teammates. And
it was good to hear him honest and raw and a little bit emotional and just taking us on that the difficult journey that he's been on the last couple of weeks. It would have been a traumatic time for everyone. You know, we don't talk enough about those that are on the edges. You know, the partners, the family. It's really hit home with the Petrarca discussion, I think.
Yep.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, no, I do. Outstanding. And the courage that he's shown over this period has been extraordinary. I just couldn't believe he went back out on that football field in the state that he was in. So to hear him speak about that and I guess the coverage of that and some disgruntlement that's been reported from the Petrarca camp towards the club would be difficult as well. So, yeah, well-spoken, terrific interview from AFL 360 and Christian Petrarca.